So as per the record,
Sir,
we have a Linux. Yes.
nothing, sir. Nothing, sir. Recording.
Okay. So over here we have a Linux operating system, which will be our attacker machine, and
Okay,
over
sir.
here we have a victim machine. Ashwin, too much okay, okay. So we were doing sniffing parts. So if you see over here in the application, in the 9th level we have sniffing and spoofing. So we have discussed that sniffing is a process where we monitor each and every packet on the network area, which is our LAN area. So over here we can see the interface of Wireshark, and Wireshark is one of the best tools. In the real life scenario, most of the company they are focusing on the Splunk.
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 So, what is this Splunk? Splunk.
Splunk is one of the best tool for network monitoring of your entire organization. And
Okay, sir.
this is a SIM tool. You can see over here. What does Splunk software do? This is the important part. Splunk captures, index, and correlate real-time data in searchable repository for which can generate graphs, report, alert, dashboard, and virtualization. Splunk is a horizontal technology used for application management, security and compliance, as well as business and web analysis. It's a network monitoring tool, and most of the companies they use Splunk. If you see over here, Splunk is basically enables the security team to use all the data to gain organization-wide visibility and security intelligence. Splunk provides organization the ability to improve security operation with faster response and times. This is a network monitoring tool. If you see over here, see, and this is one of the best tools for network monitoring for security reasons, for IT operations, predict and prevent problems with one unified monitoring experience, streaming your entire security stack, DevOps, business analytic. This tool is one of the best tool for entire network scan. See. So the major objective of your Splunk is to monitor or analyze all the packets on your network.
So, we need to download it.
Hmm?
We need to download it. Splunk.
Yeah, you can download it for the free version. You can download it. You will have simply the link over here.
Okay, sir.
But for configuring the Splunk, it will take time because it's not a small, it's very big application, and you need a proper server for that.
Okay, sir.
And before that, you have to simply put all this thing and get started. For example, first name, last name, job title, email address. Okay, the email address is not necessary because we can use temp mail. The India, the username and password, you have to select the username and password also. So over here, what I'm going to teach you, I'm going to show you how does the Wireshark works. So we're going to use the Ethernet, but over here, I'm going to use a Wireshark cheat sheet also. Wireshark cheat sheet. If we have the cheat sheet, then if you see over here, there's a lot of image in the bottom side. Wireshark is an essential tool for network administrator, and basically it's basically used for packet filtering part, packet analyzing part. You can see lots of pictures over here. But I guess this is it clear?
Yes, sir.
No, it's not clear. I want this portion. So if you go down, what are the things you will see? Wireshark capturing modes, filter types, capture filter syntax, display filter syntax, protocols values, filter packets, logical operations, default columns. You can see lots of other things with the help of Wireshark. But Wireshark will work on a single server, which is your Kali Linux. And over here, you can see the cheat sheets. So the most important part is you can see default columns in a packet capture output. You can use number, you can use time for second for the first frame, source, the source address, commonly an IPv4 or IPv6, and the destination, the protocol, the length, and you can see the logical operators also. All operations should be matched, or double pipe, all other, either all the one of the conditions should be matched, equal to. These are the operations that we use for. And if you see over here, you can, if you want to learn the Wireshark networking port, it will take a lot of time because it will take 1 month of course to learning Wireshark.
Full course, sir.
The Wireshark course.
Okay, sir.
And I guess I told you about the promises mode.
No, sir.
So promises mode is a mode where we can simply use it for network monitoring part. So if you look over here, promises mode set interface to capture all the packets on the network segment to which it is associated to. So if you look over here, as yesterday I told you about, go to capture options, and you can see the interface that you want to select. So the major part that we have Ethio, which is your Ethernet traffic, and we're gonna use the first one. So the most important thing you can see, I'm gonna select the first one, which is your Ethio.
Okay, sir.
Why? According to my local network, I am connected with the LAN device, which is your Ethernet. So start, and you can see there is no packet over here. Why? Because there is no fluctuation, or you can say some traffics. When I simply use the Google tab in the back end, you can see there are some traffic is generated.
Yes, sir.
So you can see 348 packets had been generated, and you can see if you go to the top of the packet, you can see the first frame, the time, the source, the destination, and the DNS, which is google.com. Source, which is my IP address, 192.168.96.133. You can see over here, 192.168.196.133 is my source IP address where the packet has been generated. And where the packet will be transmitted, the packet will be transmitted to the router device, which is my 192.168.96.2. Cross verify, route -n, and you can see the gateway IP 192.168.96.2. So the packet was generated from the source to the destination, which is my router, because this is a LAN device, a network device on my local area network. And you can see the protocol which is using it. You was using a DNS, domain name server, and you can see the packet length plus the packet information. And this is 0xA59 is a buffer, and you can see the google.com. So whatever the packets I can generate in my browser, in my local network, it will fluctuate over here. You can see the packets over here. You can see the test.php hub. You can see facebook.com, which is basically using my browser cache. But what are these lines basically? Number, time, source, destination, protocol. Let's see on the cheat sheet. So something like this. You can see Wireshark capturing mode. You can see the Wireshark capturing mode, set interface to capture packets on the network segment to which it is associated to. Monitor mode, set up the Wireshark interface to capture all the traffic that can be received by Unix or Linux. You can see miscellaneous. These are basically your operators, or you can say filters. But how does it look? Simply capture filter syntax will be like this. Syntax will be example, protocol, TCP, which kind of protocol they are using, UDP or TCP. The direction will be the source, and the host will be our destination. Value 8, logical operator and expression, TCP destination or the IP address. That simply what we want a TCP connection with the destination IP address, this one, with the local machine, which was 192.168.1.1. So
Okay, sir.
Ram, is it clear?
Sir, yes.
So you can see display filter syntax. You can use TCP port over here. Protocol HTTP, string 1 destination and string 2 IP address. Comparison is equal to value 192.168.1. Logical and is basically used to compare, join two files, and the TCP port. So our main objective is how a value can be transmitted and can be read by this operators over here. So let me do one thing. Let's download this image. Because in real life scenario, we all need a cheat sheet first of all. So where is that picture has been installed? Save as image. That was in pictures. Wireshark cheat sheet one. Okay. Over here. So the most important thing, you can see that what are the filters? There are lots of filters for capturing filters, for displaying filters. You can see common filter commands for uses of filter by the URL, filter by the timestamp, filter by the sync flood. These Wireshark beacon packets filtering, Wireshark broadcast filter. So the major important part, we're gonna start with the basic one. So which we're gonna use this types of filters. And over here, I'm going to use Wireshark filter by IP address, ip.addr. Wireshark filter by IP address, a specific one. Filter by the destination, DST. Filter by the source IP address, you can write ip.src. For example, I'm going to use Wireshark over here. So the very first thing, I'm going to visit any of the websites. So let's use in URL. I'm going to use Indian site. In URL, I want the Indian login.php website. And it will be the HTTP, and the site would be our India. So in the Wireshark, we can see that all the capture the packets in the network part, but we are not able to capture the HTTPS packets. HTTPS packets. For that case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how we can simply capture the insecure website, how the sniffing works in real life scenario. The sniffing works in real life scenario. You have to see these files, the website which are not secure. We are using google.com, and I can see the connection is encrypted by TLS, AES encryption standard, 128 bits.
Yes,
But
sir.
how the unsecure website will work? For example, let me take this one. This is an Indian website. So if you see over here, the connection is not secure. Why? Because this website is not using any type of encryptions over here. The website www.nav.in doesn't support encryption standard that you are viewing. Information sent over the internet can be encrypted, can be seen by other people while it's in transit. So if my network analysis is basically monitoring all the activities on the LAN network, what he can do, he can simply sniff all the entire packets. Let's try this one again. So what I'm going to do, refresh this one, and we can see some backend process. The packet has been created, 176 packet.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply transmit, or I can simply submit my request over here, which is a login forum. A login forum will be a post method. A post method where a client simply submit their credentials in a login form or any of the search parameter or a text field. So over here, I'm going to write craw security.in and let's the password crawsec and the verification code 5709. So that the victim is not aware that the website is secure or not, because he's not figuring out the HTTP and HTTPS, because they are not aware about the vulnerability or the security issue. So what can a hacker do? Simply he can simply sniff by his any of the sniffing tools and simply do a passive sniffing. In passive sniffing, he will simply monitor the activities between the two nodes, and in an active sniffing, he will simply check each and everything with the help of tools.
Okay, sir.
So what I'm going to do, if I simply log in with the credentials in my Wireshark, there will be some packets will be generated, but how I'm going to filter out, because this one was a post request from the client, from the victim side. So what can an attacker can do? An attacker can simply sniff all the entire packet one by one. For example, in my cheat sheet, let's see if we have some packets over packet filtering part over here also. Not they have given start, close, jump forward to the packet. Okay, they have not given the more data. So let's check to the website of the Wireshark. They have given the example also. See, syntax example protocol HTTP string one destination. They have given each and everything. But my major concern is, if there is a post request on the server side, how are we gonna gain information? Post request. For that case, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use Wireshark post filter. Post filter whenever the client is posting something on the server side of any of the parameter values. For example, how to make a Wireshark filter post request only. So let's try this one. Or you can use sniff HTTP packets to get a request. So over here, if you see the syntax, you can use the following filter. For example, HTTP dot request dot method is equal to post method. And what does it mean? Whenever the client is simply submitting anything on the request on any of the parameter field, for example, this parameter field or login field, whatever you're posting from your browser, so it will be a post method. The data which is transferring from the URL session is called get method. There are two types of methods in web application: get method and post method. The data which is flowing from the URL is known as get method, and data which is flowing from the any of the text field or the parameter field is known as post method.
Okay, sir.
For example, let's use this one to filter out the packets from 8,000 of packets. So I'm going to use HTTP dot request dot method is equal to post. So we are simply capturing the post methods over here. So let's execute, and over here you can see some post request from the server side, which is my local machine, which was my machine, which is 133 on the destination website. We can see check login.php application framework. And over here in the bottom, you can see the frames of the packets, which is flowing. HTTP protocol. And this was a simple post request. From whom? From the client. This was a simple client-side request. And you can see the content of the length, cookie parameters, and over here you can see the frames of the works. And if you go down, HTML forum URL encoded, you will see that data which is over here. Email ID was craw@security.in. The password was crawsec. The verification box was 5709, and it was submit login. And you can see all the packet frames over here. Or you can simply do right click on the specific one, follow TCP stream. When you click the follow TCP stream, you can see the request which is made by the server and the client, and you can see the data which is flowing in the backend over here. That was in plain text. That was Craw Security, and the password was Crawsec, and the verification box. And why this happened? Because the server was not using any of the HTTP as packets. That was using HTTP website. And you can see in the URL section, there's a PHP mode session token. We are not secure, we are not properly secure when we are using HTTP websites. That's why most of the companies, they prefer HTTPS packets. And if you look over here, there are lots of blogs you can read for your answer. HTTP.request to get and post call. Or you can simply use this one. If you want to display both methods, get and post, you can filter like HTTP.request method. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Ram?
Yes, sir, clear.
But there are lots of other things also. For example, I have a target. Over here, we have a target. Let's see the IP address of this machine. This machine has an IP address 192.168.96.134. Let's see ARP case. In ARP cache, we can see there is only a gateway IP address, which is over here. This is the gateway. And the gateway has a MAC address, which is 0050 56 E9 64 E3. So this is a dynamic type. Dynamic type means it could be changeable. So what we can do, we can simply try each and every network monitoring part. For example, I'm gonna use Wireshark over here again. But this time, from the victim machine, I'm gonna do a ping. I'm gonna ping a machine, and I'm gonna ping a machine called 96.133. The number of packets, I'm gonna use 100. So we are sending 100 packets on 133. Through that, through the Wireshark, we can simply monitor the packet, each and everything. See over here. See, there was a packet which is generated from 192, 168, 96, 134 from to the destination 133, and that was ICMP echo ping request. And you can see the packet has been rising one by one. And if you go down, you will see the ping packets and the packet which is flowing from the XP server. Through the Wireshark, we can simply monitor each and every packets on the servers. The main objective of Wireshark is simply keep an eye on your network 24/7. So any of the attackers simply do unethical way things. So the main objective of my sniffing part was to capture or simply assign each and every part. So that could be help us to our secure our organization. There are lots of other packets, other things you can use. There is not only one book, there is lots of books. For example, I simply use this book. And if you see the contents, packet analyzing network basic, tapping into wires, introduction to the Wireshark, working with the capture packets, advanced network features. See, they have given one by one all the things. The source code access, the operating system support, all the things are given one by one. And how does it work? It works on the OSI model 7 layer. The application layer, the presentation layer, the session layer, transmit layer, network layer, data link layer, and the physical layer. And we can see application layer is a data type. Presentation is also data. Session is a data. Transport is a segment. Network is a packet. Data link is frames, and physical is bits. Before understanding the sniffing part, you should know about the OSI model. How does it work? The hierarchical. And it was basically published on the year of 1983 by the International Organization of Standards, which is known as ISO. So that's why application layer, the topmost layer of the OSI model, uh, provides a mean to user access, which is interface, you can say. And what are the protocols that we use? This is the important part, guys. See, Ashwin, you have learned these things?
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, good. So over here, you can see in application layer, what are the protocols they use? They use HTTP, SMTP, FTP, or Telnet. In the presentation, they use SKY, MLPG, JPEG, and MIDI. For session, they use NetBIOS, Snap, SNDP, Network. For transport, they use TCP, UDP, and SPX. Network, they use IP and IPX. Data link, they use Ethernet, token ring, Apple top, or physical, they use wired and wireless.
Sir, what is IPX?
Hmm?
IPX.
I heard about the IP, not I doesn't know about the IPX. So let's see about the IPX. Okay, IPX is a novel network protocol used to routing packets. Okay, routing packets from a network node to another through the internet ports. Okay,
Okay.
I think it's just like connection between the two clients.
Okay, sir.
It's a network layer protocol and provides connection datagram services for Ethernet, token ring, and other communication data link layer. Nice. So you can see each and everything is given over here in this book. You can simply read this practical part and you can see how does the real actionary works. So this book cover all the things, network hardware. You can see a hub. A hub is basically provides a network. A hub is generally a box with multiple RJ45 ports, like a Netgear hub shown on the figure. Hub ranges from very small 4-port devices to larger 48-port devices designed to rack, mounting, or property environment. But nowadays, hub is not used because hub has some issues on their devices. And what kind
Okay.
of? Because it basically a broadcast. It will broadcast all the packets to the network LAN devices. So that's why if you see the scenario of a hub, you can see all the devices are connected with that. So I will simply prefer you guys to read this book. I can show you the way only. But
Okay, sir.
understanding the real life scenario is like this. Routers, you can see all the things are given over here, and this and I'm gonna print this book.
Sir, you have printed.
Huh?
You have printed this book.
I will print this book because I'm not okay. I downloaded this book from using Google. This was the third edition. You can see over here,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
and over here, which year is it? Is it an year mentioned over here?
No, sir.
No, no. Is it okay
Yes,
with the
sir.
Wireshark guys?
Yes, sir. Sir, we can find the others, others data by using Wireshark.
You can use other tools. You can use
Okay.
Splunk. You can use BitterCap.
Okay, sir.
So uh, in URL, I'm going to use the same site over here. Why I'm going to use this one? Because, okay, now I'm going to show you how the MITM attack works. Man in the middle attack. So there is a concept of MITM, man in the middle attack on a sniffing module. So let me show you one thing. MITM attack. So if you see over here, in the cryptography or computer security, a man in the middle attack is an attack where an attacker secretly relay and possibly alter the communication between two parties who believe that they are directly communicating with each other.
Okay, sir.
And how does it works? Basically, it is a type of evade dropping attack that occurs when a malicious actor inserts himself as a relay or a proxy in a communication session between a people or a system. An MITM exploit the real-life processing of transaction, conservation, and transferring the other data.
Okay, sir.
For example, you can see over here. Let's remove the attacker over here. Let's remove the attacker first of all. Basically, we are the legitimate user. We basically use our web application with the browser, and this would be our network device over here. So all the packets which will are transferring from these two, from client A to client B, and client B is my destination where I can simply access my application over here, web application. Same time, how can an attacker simply gain unauthorized information between the two clients? This is called MITM, man in the middle attack, when simply attacker plays between the two nodes. Means he simply changed the IP address of the router and exchange with his MAC address. So his network device will be pretend to be a network hub. So the transmission which is flowing from the two clients will be transferring from by the attacker machine. The client request, the victim request will be transferring from the attacker machine, and the attacker will see what are the packet has been snooped, and then the packet will be transferred to the web application. When the server will response with the request, the server request response will be back to the attacker, and attacker can see the packet which is flowing in the backend between the two clients. And if you look over here, in the original, they basically make a connection with the target. An attacker simply plays between the two nodes. For example, let me show you one thing. So over here we can see IP address R-A, and over here, if I see, this is the gateway IP address 192.168.96.2, which is IP address 0050.56E64TE. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change this IP address with my MAC address. And how? We're gonna use a tool called EtherCap. We're gonna use a tool called okay, sorry, this is Wireshark. We're gonna use a tool called EtherCap. So with the help of EtherCap, we're gonna use it for network sniffing part.
Okay, sir.
For example, I'm gonna use, if you see over here, if you write what is EtherCap, EtherCap is one of the basically tool for manning the middle attack. EtherCap is a free open source network security tool for manning the middle attack on a LAN network. It can be used to computer network protocol analysis and security auditing. It runs with the various of Linux operating system and Unix also. With the help of EtherCap, you can simply monitor each and every packets. For example, over here we're gonna go to the sniff, unified sniff, and over here we have to select our interface. So I'm gonna use ETO, okay. And what I'm gonna do then, I'm gonna scan the entire network devices. I'm gonna do a active scan. So where we can simply identify the number of hosts which is connected with the network. So I'm gonna use host tab, and on the third I can see scan for the host. So it simply scan the host, and the number of hosts are over there are 4. So I'm going to use host list, and I can see the number of devices in my network, which is 96.1 to 134 and 254. And 134 is our victim IP address, which is our this. The main objective of this machine is to simply enumerate the services. Let's do an ARP again. And when I do an ARP scan, simply you can see I can see the 133 IP address on my network, which has an MAC address 000C29AD B506. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pretend to be a network device over here. I'm going to change the IP address of my gateway with my IP address. So whatever the packet are flowing on the network, it will transmit it from my device. So we have delete host, we have target one. So what we can do, we're gonna have to think for the logical things. Target one and target two. The target one will be the source address, and the target two will be the destination address. For example, if XP is simply making a request, the first request will be transferred to the gateway IP address, which is my router gateway IP address. So in this case, the target one will be our victim IP address, which will be a source, and the destination IP address will be our gateway IP address, because the packet will be flow between these two nodes.
Okay, sir.
And over here, we're gonna do an MITM attack, which is ARP poisoning attack, and we're gonna do the sniff remote connection, only the sniff remote connection. Now let's cross verify. See the gateway IP address. The gateway IP address has been changed with my attacker IP address now, 000C298D B506. See, the actual IP address of the gateway was 0005056E964E3. So we are simply pretend to be a network device on that network. So in this case, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna simply start sniffing. So whatever the packet will be generated from the victim side, it will be shown to the attacker machine. So let's use a browser. So I'm gonna use a normal website, login.php website. In URL, I'm gonna use HTTP, and the site I'm gonna use again India. So let's use the first website. So Craw Sec, password Craw Sec, and the IP and the number 5931, and login. When the client request has been transmitted, when the client request has been submitted, you can see the data which is over here. The server visited the IP address this, and the username was this, and the password was this, with the website this. And you can see the cookie session tokens. So this was a part of your MITM when we simply place ourselves between the two nodes of the network devices. The main objective of this machine or this scenario was to attack or simply gain credential between the two nodes. Ashwin,
Sir.
Ram, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any doubts?
No, sir, no.
So this was a trick, simply how an attacker simply place himself between the two nodes to gain credential between the two clients. And EtherCap is basically capturing the HTTP packets, not the S packets. S packets are secure now because they are using some advanced encryption standard.
Okay, sir.
So before, when you simply do stop the sniffing part, then simply exit. Otherwise, your NIC card will be damaged over here. And if you see on the Windows machine now, let's do ARP again. It will be back to normal. So this was a scenario of your MITM attack, man in the middle attack. But there are lots of other techniques also. And we have tried, this was a technique called ARP poisoning. And what was ARP poisoning? ARP poisoning, also known as ARP spoofing, is a type of cyber attack carried out all the local area network that involves sending malicious ARP packets to a default gateway on a LAN in order to change the pairing in the IP or a MAC address table. What is ARP spoofing and ARP poisoning? Address resolution protocol poisoning is an attack that involves sending ARP spoof messages over a LAN area network. It is also known as ARP spoofing, ARP poison routing, and ARP cache poisoning. This attacks attempt to divert traffic from originally intended host on the attacker machine. It means through this attack we can simply divert or simply change the direction of a client request. And we have done the MITM attack from that. For many cases, ARP poisoning will be work on the network device. But in the network device, we have switch also. That's why we have broadcast traffic, multicast traffic, unicast traffic. Broadcast traffic broadcast all the packets to the domain environment, which has the MAC address of FFFF segment. And this is basically works on the layer 2 and layer 3, which is your data link and network link. Broadcast packet is a packet that sends all the ports on the network segments, regardless to whether a given port or a hub switch. A multicast traffic is basically used to send multiple connections in a single way. Multicast is a means to transferring a packet from a single source to a multiple destination simultaneously. The goal of this multicasting is to use a little bandwidth as possible. So that's why we have unicast also. A unicast packet is transmitted from one computer directly to another computer. A single pair, you can say. So in the real life scenario, if you know the networking concept, it will be easy for you to understand. That's why you can see they are tapping into the wires. Think about a backend server, a backend concept of an organization. You can see number of devices will be connected with that network device. And that network device will be connected with any other switches or hub. Placing your sniffer on the network can be changing when there are many connections and getting the data you want to pick. Leaving promising NIC card, network interface card, promises more. I told you about this one yesterday.
Yes, sir.
So whatever the things I will give, that will be a valuable thing to you guys. Okay.
Okay, sir.
You can see all the things, how the sniffer works. He's on the same network, but he's on different thing. A hub, we don't use hub now because it will broadcast all the packets on the server side. Same, you can see sniffing, switch environment, port mirroring. There are lots of other things. That's why they have some common layer. Advanced Wireshark, introduction of Wireshark. This was the important part. And they have given all the things one by one. And I guess this is for Windows. They have given each and everything. You can install in the Windows, Mac OS, whatever the platform you want to choose. It's all about understanding the packet, how does it works. See, this was what I was talking about, how the actual packet works. Working with the capture of packets. So this was an important part. This book is important, guys.
Okay, sir.
And when you are simply making a Wireshark packet or an analyzed packet, it will save in a cap file. It will store a file on its extension called cap, CAP. And they're gonna show you all the packets over here. Display filters, hexadecimal values, string values, marketing packets. I was reading this book and this was curious. I was curious about these things, so it was very good. So you guys can also read one. You can simply use Google Doc. I simply use the Google Doc to find this book.
Okay,
And
sir.
if you guys have any new edition, please share it with me also.
Okay, sir.
Let's jump to our next tool.
Okay, sir.
So the next tool that we're gonna use in our module is called TCP Dump. TCP Dump. And TCP, let me show you what is the function of TCP Dump over here, first of all. So TCP Dump is your network transmission control protocol analyzing tool, but this is a CLI version. So if you see over here, TCP Dump print out a description of the content of a packet on a network interface that matches the Boolean and basically it used to timestamp, print, and default hours, minutes, each and everything can be used. TCP dump is basically used to capture all the monitoring filters. For example, let me show you one thing. TCP dump -- help. So over here, what to select first? We have some lots of things over here, and the TCP dump works on the same network. Sniffing part will work on the same network. It really can't work on the WAN network. So the major part over here, we're going to try TCP dump to capture or analyze the packet which is flowing in the back end of a specific server. For example, I'm going to use TCP dump -I. -I stands for interface. Interface, your network interface that you are using right now. So I'm using Ethernet, so which is Ethio. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write Ethio, and over here, if I simply select any of the website, you can see the backend. They simply capture all the packets in a second, which is a CLI version, and you can see read the packet one by one. For example, if I do something like facebook.com, it will make some logs in the backend like this. So let me tell you one thing, that TCP dump is to check the behavior between the two clients. In the layman language, I can say TCP dump is used to check the behavior between the two nodes. For example, what are the things you're going to learn? Install commands, packet capturing options, logical operators, display outputs options, protocols, common commands with protocols, and filter options. Or you can simply download this one also. If you download this one, you can see the same command over here also. Packet capturing options. -any, TCP dump -any. Any stands for capture from all the interface. In this case, we have two interfaces, Ethio and local. So what I'm going to do, if I stop this one, if I put any over here, it will use any of the interface. For example, if I do a simple ping command to the local host IP address, let's do a ping command over here. So if I hit enter, you will see some ICMP request packets. Which is basically where it's from. It's from my local server. If I'm doing an Nmap scan on the target IP address, which will be my 96.2, let's use any again. If I hit enter, I can see some packets over here. So through this command, we can simply, TCP dump is to check the behavior. You can simply use any of this command, just like -C, capture first 10 packets and exit, -C 10. So what we can do, we can write Ethio, and for basically I just want to capture only the 50 packets. You will see only the 50 packets from here, and the TCP dump will be exit the connection. See. And through this thing, you can simply keep an eye on your network.
Okay, sir.
Basically, what will happen? You can use -D to check the available interface. -A print the ASCII values. -W to store the files on the server side. -R to analyze the capture files. -N Do not resolve host, only the name address. We can use this one. That was -I. We will see only the IP address over here, nothing else. If I simply use google.com, you will see only the IP address, not the name server. Because -N, the -N stands for numeric. Stop domain name translation and look up for host name servers and port names. Double N. You can use double N over here. All you can see is the ports or the flags over here. That's why TCP Dump is one of the best tools for analyzing the tools, and you can use also for checking the comparison, combined filter options from the source to the destination. TCP Dump destination port ICMP not equal to. These are all the things you can try one by one.
Okay, sir.
So TCP Dump is one of the best tools for network analyzing tool. But for a security analyst, if we have a network device switch, it has an attack called MAC flooding attack. Most of the companies, they use switch. Then what? As a IT security, you should know about the MAC flooding. What is a MAC flooding attack and how is it present? This is an important part. Media access control, which is stored on your network device when you are simply connected with the server. A MAC flooding attack is an attack where a simply attacker infect the CAM table. You can see over here. MAC address flooding attack, CAM table flooding attack is a type of network attack where an attacker connect to the switch port, flood the switch interface with very large number of Ethernet frames, with different fake source MAC address. A MAC address has a capacity of 40 to 50 devices to be connected in a simple node. But how an attacker simply gain unauthorized access? He simply connect with that switch and simply send some frames with a different fake source MAC address. From the following image, you can see they are using OmniSecure. This is a Windows tool. He simply used the WLAN1 MAC address and simply selected his interface and is infected all the server with the fake MAC address. You can see dynamic with the Ethernet port. This type of attack is also known as CAM table overflow attack. Within a very short time, the switch MAC address table is full with the fake MAC address port mapping, which MAC address table has only a limited amount of memory. The switch cannot save any of the more MAC address in a MAC address table. So it will override the switch, and it will then the switch will be react like a hub. It will broadcast all the packets. Once the switch, when the switch MAC address table is full, it can not save any of MAC address. It enters into a fail open mode. What is a fail open mode? And start behaving like a network hub.
Okay, sir.
Frames are flooded to the ports, similar to the broadcast type of communications. So you can see what will the benefit of the attacker. The attacker will be delivered with all the frames between the victim and the other machines, and it will see the sensitive data also. In your network device, there is a tool called MacOff, but I guess this is not available on this machine. MacOff. You can use macoff for MAC threading attack. Macoff in Kali Linux. See over here that you're gonna use apt get install mac off. Okay, so it's facing some problem. Mac off -h. It's already have the mac off. So you can use mac off over here, but I guess this will not work because I don't have mac off over here. apt get install mac off. Unable to locate. But there are lots of other tools you can use for animation part. So this was all in your session, guys.
Okay, sir.